Can anybody out there tell me what these three Bears players are doing here? Let's talk about it. Chicago Bears Now is sponsored by Roan. We appreciate Roan for sponsoring today's show. Rocking one of their polos here today. You should too. Use code ChatSports at roan.com/chatsports for 20% off. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. Here's what we got coming up on today's show. I examined three players that, quite frankly, don't seem to serve a purpose on this Bears roster right now. And obviously there's backups, and if guys get hurt, you need guys to be able to play. But in these guys' cases, I'm not even sure there's that much value in that with how they're being utilized or not being utilized. So let's dive in, and I'll kind of explain as we go. Let's get to the first one, and this might be the most obvious one. Like, why are they here? Why is Khari Blasingame on this football team? I said it throughout training camp. I said it throughout the preseason. Shane Waldron did not carry a fullback in Seattle. I do not expect Khari Blasingame to be on the 53. I thought they would keep Brendan Bates. He could serve as that fourth tight end fullback hybrid. They didn't. He got claimed by the Jets, which I thought was a mistake. And now Blasingame, who played week 1, was injured weeks 2 and 3, fully healthy this week, a healthy scratch in week 4. So what is the point? Because it's not like, oh, we're just not going to utilize fullback much this week. No. They got on the goal line and they put Doug Kramer, the backup center, at fullback to drive forward and create a hole for Roschon Johnson. They did it again in another short yardage situation as well. And there were times throughout the game where they utilized tight ends at fullback. We've seen Gerald Everett line up at fullback. We've seen Cole Kmet line up at fullback. We've seen Mercedes Lewis line up at fullback. Doug Kramer's doing it now on the goal line. That seemed to work. So, again, what is the purpose of Khari Blasingame? And this is not against Khari at all. I think he's a pretty good fullback, but there's a reason I was saying it in preseason and in training camp. It's like Waldron has utilized fullbacks that aren't fullbacks, tight ends. That's why I thought they would carry a fourth, and they didn't. They did call one up recently, Steven Carlson, but then he got injured. So if he's a healthy scratch, like a healthy scratch for your only fullback on your roster, there's really no reason to carry him on the 53, right? It'd be one thing if you had a fourth tight end that was a healthy scratch, but that's not the case here. So I really don't know the purpose of Khari Blasingame on this roster at this point, and I would love to know the answer to it by the Chicago Bears. So I want to know from you guys. You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break, so we'll make this the pinned comment, and you can reply right there. What should the Bears do with Khari Blasingame? Type C for cut him or U for use him? Because if you're not going to cut him, you probably should have him active. Otherwise, you're just wasting a roster spot on a fullback that's in street clothes on Sundays. C for cut, U for use. YouTube ad break right now. All right, number 2, Khalil Herbert. Now, I would say out of all three of these players we're talking about, Khalil Herbert is the most proven and the most capable and a guy who could still help you, but he doesn't seem to have a role right now. He's active every week, but he's basically done nothing on the season. Like, he's getting 1 or 2 carries per game at most. Like, what's his role? This is a guy who has rushed for over 400 yards in 3 straight seasons. He's not on pace to run for 100 yards this year. He's been squeezed out. He's behind DeAndre Swift. He's behind Roschon Johnson. Travis Homer was getting snaps over him before he went on to injured reserve. We'll see if he comes back at some point. He's not a major special teams contributor. He's like your number 2 kickoff returner after DeAndre Carter. Like, it'd be one thing if he was one of your best gunners or something like that, but it's not like he's a special teams ace. So again, if you're not going to hand him the rock, and sure, if there was an injury, you could use him, but you also have other guys. Like, I'll say this about Travis Homer when he's healthy. He's a great special teams player. So, like, in a pinch, he could play running back. If Herbert's your third back and not playing on special teams and getting 1 or 2 carries per game, it's kind of a useless utilization of a roster spot. All right, we'll get to the third guy in just a moment, but first, we got to tell you about our sponsor, Roan. Shout out to Roan for sponsoring today's show. We have been partnered with them for a while, and their commuter collection is awesome. World-class button-downs. They've got short-sleeve polos. They've got blazers now as well, pants, shorts, tees. They've got it all, and you can get 20% off at roan.com/chatsports with code chatsports. And looking good is easy, but what they have mastered is feeling comfortable with their four-way stretch fabric. If you're on the move a lot for your job, their clothing is very nice. If you want to go play 18 holes of golf, if you want to go check out happy hour, they're going to have you fitted for all different situations. Check out Roan today, roan.com/chatsports, code chatsports for 20% off. Machine washable clothing, so you're going to save money by not having to go to the dry cleaners as well. It's Roan. It's awesome. The link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Go check them out today. Last one is Velus Jones Jr., who had a great training camp. I was actually okay with him making the roster because I thought he earned a roster spot. I was completely out on him, but if you earn it, you earn it. And I thought he did. He showed really good explosiveness as a running back. And we know when he catches the ball, he's a good kickoff returner. Well, here's the problem. The first time he had a chance to return a kickoff this season, not only did he muff it, he muffed it so badly that it ricocheted off his foot, went to the kickoff team, and was recovered, which with the new kickoff rules is basically impossible. And he found a way to pull it off. So what have the Bears done? Well, they've made him a healthy scratch 3 weeks in a row. So he's just taking up a roster spot, and he's not playing on Sundays. So I think it's one of those, like, good. He should have been inactive for at least a game or two. Like, send a message. But at some point, like, is he just a deep backup now? And, like, unless multiple guys get hurt, he's not healthy? Like, I thought when Travis Homer went on IR, I was like, okay, Velus will get another chance here. He has sat for a game or two. No, he's still been a healthy scratch. So what's the point? Because coming into this year, I don't think any of us really had expectations of his. And when he makes that big mistake in week one, we all thought it, like, this might be the end of the road. Well, again, it's another half measure. It's kind of like keeping Chris Morgan, the offensive line coach, when you fire the rest of the offensive staff. Like, why? Are you going to rip the Band-Aid off, or are you going to tear off one side because the stickiness ran out and get some silly putty and close it off? Like, I mean, I just don't get it. Like, either play him, say, hey, we've sent a message, you can't be making easy mistakes, or just move on, right? And you got to wonder if you missed an opportunity, because we all saw it on Hard Knocks. A team was interested in trading for Velus Jones at the end of training camp. Now, I can't imagine it was a great offer. Could have been one of those late-round pick swaps or just a sixth-round pick or something like that. But if he's just a healthy scratch every week, you'd probably you'd like to have that one back, would you not? And again, tying it back to Khalil Herbert in the running back position, it's just there's too many cooks in the kitchen. And especially what we saw last week, like the Thunder and Lightning approach with DeAndre Swift as Lightning and Roschon Johnson as Thunder seemed pretty effective last week. We'll see how it goes moving forward. But you look across the league, not many teams are utilizing a third back on Sundays a lot. A lot are using two. It's kind of a 1-2 punch league now, but not many are using three, and nobody is playing a fourth running back on Sundays. And this team carried 5, if you count Velus Jones. And we know that they like Travis Homer, so when he returns from short-term IR, like, are they going to reactivate him? Like, what's the pecking order at that point? So I just think you really need to reanalyze, especially really just the backfield with Blasingame as well. Like, there's too many guys here. You could find someone like a depth secondary piece or another defensive lineman that could help you on kickoff and kick return or something like that, or a depth offensive lineman. Take a swing on somebody in free agency or off a practice squad elsewhere and bring him in, because, let's face it, this offensive line isn't that good. So I just think it's too many. It's overkill, and we're seeing it play out. These guys are active, and they're not playing. So what's the point? And in Velus' case, he's inactive. So it's really just kind of and Blasingame as well, it's really just kind of an overkill situation. All right, keep one. If you wanted to keep one of these guys moving forward, who would you keep? Type VJJ for Velus Jones Jr., KH for Khalil Herbert. If you told me Swift and Roschon were going to remain as your top 2 running backs, I'd probably keep Velus, because Herbert serves no purpose on this team as a third back. He could be a number 2 for a lot of teams in the NFL. He could be a starter for a couple teams, like the Dallas Cowboys, for example. I have no faith in Velus, but at least he's explosive and does some different things. So, yeah, I mean, I think they need to look at this. You got the bye week coming up in a couple of weeks. I just think, you 4 or 5 spots at the back end of this roster. I didn't even get to a guy like Tyler Scott. Active every week, doesn't play, basically. So it's just very, very odd. All right, my name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for tuning in to Chicago Bears. Now, let us know what you guys think about all that in the comment section below. Hit subscribe on the way out the door. We will be back tomorrow with more Bears content. See you then.